Hi, I'm Jill, Chief Safety Officer with Vivid Learning Systems. I'm a former OSHA inspector, and I'm here to help you identify and correct workplace hazards. For this series, we are at the beautiful Monterey Bay Aquarium to show you that no matter where you work, safety is for everyone. Whether you're in a medical clinic, lab, hospital, manufacturing facility, or at an aquarium, you produce universal waste. How you manage that waste to protect people and the environment is critically important. Today we're with Jeremiah, the safety manager here at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. And Jeremiah, could you talk with us about what types of waste is considered a universal waste?
Right, so anywhere in your facility, if you have lighting or you have battery operated equipment, you're going to produce universal waste. We're talking about light bulbs, alkaline batteries, lead acid batteries, different things like that that are part of your normal everyday operations. And when we produce these wastes, they've got to be handled properly, stored properly, and disposed of in an appropriate manner.
Okay, very good. And so what sort of steps can people go through to try to reduce that type of waste to begin with?
Right.
So you have less to manage.
Yeah, the best practice is try to manage your generation rate and try to reduce it as best that you can. And there's ways to get help with doing that. You could contact a lighting specialist, a lighting vendor, and they can come and do an assessment to tell you what types of lights you could switch to that may be more efficient so you don't cycle through bulbs as fast. That'll reduce your generation rate. If you have battery operated equipment, you know, it's really popular now to have battery operated paper towel dispensers. You see those everywhere because people don't want to touch those types of things. If you could hardwire those units, it's low voltage, hardwire those units, then you don't have to replace those batteries on a regular basis.
Good tip, good tip. So let's say you've done that and you've reduced your waste as much as possible, then how do you manage it once you've collected it?
Right, so first of all, you want to have a designated waste accumulation area. And this could be for all types of waste, hazardous waste, universal waste, e-waste, but you need to have a designated place that people know where they could take these things where they're stored appropriately for a couple different reasons. One, so you can manage it. You should have someone on your site that's trained to manage these wastes. There's all kinds of state and local regulations as well as federal, but also so in a first responder scenario, they know where that stuff is located, so if you had a fire or an earthquake or something like that, they would know either to stay out of that area or to be able to manage that waste area appropriately.
And so we're standing in your universal waste storage area right now. And so how do you segregate that waste, assuming it needs to be segregated?
Right, so one of the important parts of managing your waste is to make sure that those waste streams are segregated, that you're not cross-contaminating. Say you've got compact fluorescent light bulbs and you've got halogen bulbs, and if they break, you're going to cross-contaminate those items. They'll be tougher to dispose of, and it may make them hazardous waste at that point. So you want to make sure that you have light-type waste in certain containers. So incandescent bulbs in one, compact fluorescents in another, LEDs in a different container. The same with your batteries. You want your alkaline batteries stored a certain way. Some of your lithium batteries, for example, they need to be taped and you need to cover the posts on those because they can't start a fire. So all those types of waste need to be segregated in their own specific containers so that you don't cross-contaminate and commingle waste.
And then I'm guessing there's something to do with labeling next. You probably have to label those containers where you're collecting. So tell us about that.
So there's all kinds of standards, of course, for hazardous waste labeling, and you need to practice some of those standards as well when you're labeling your universal waste. So you want to identify the type of waste. You want to identify who's generated that waste as the facility storing the waste. And you also want to have an accumulation start date. Depending on how much waste you produce, you have a certain amount of time to dispose of that waste. And so by having an accumulation start date, whenever you started adding something to that bin, you put a date on it. That helps the facility verify and also helps the regulators verify that you're in compliance with those standards.
And those are probably different across the country depending on what the local regulations are as well.
Right, so it's important, like I said, to have someone trained in your facility that really is an expert because it does vary from state to state, county to county. Although there are federal regulations that cover this, there's the alphabet soup of SARA, EPCRA, on and on.
All the safety acronyms.
Right.
Going along with environmental.
Right, so these are regulated by different bodies, and so if you can follow these basic practices though, it'll help you keep your facility in compliance and it'll really make that job easier for your in-house expert.
Well, thank you, Jeremiah. Thanks for sharing that important information for us as a reminder that we all need to be storing our universal waste regardless of where our place of employment is. I hope you gained a safety skill today. If you know someone who needs this, go ahead and pass it on. Safety is everyone's business.